Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we'll be playing the Qualifier Weekend event for August 2022. This month's Qualifier Weekend format will be Alchemy Best of 3. I did qualify for this event by being top 250 Mythic in Limited, but it is not a limited event. It is an Alchemy constructed event, so unfortunately for me, I have absolutely zero practice in Alchemy. It's not a format that I play pretty much at all, nor do I intend to much in the future. However, we qualified by being top 250 Mythic. We're in the event for free. We're going to get at least 500 gems no matter what, so I figured I would just grab a mono red deck. Hopefully it's not too difficult to pilot mono red in the format, and maybe we can grab a win or two and get a little bit more gems. If you're trying to see somebody who's really good at Alchemy, who's really trying to get into day 2, who knows the format well, this is not the video for you. But if you want to see a limited only player, a drafter, a sealed player just fumbling his way through constructed, trying to grab a couple gems along the way, then this should be an interesting experience for you, because that is what I'm going for here. My goal is really at least like one win, so maybe we can get at least 1,000 gems out of this instead of just 500, but honestly I wouldn't be that sad just getting 500 gems no matter what. Got some free gems by being a top limited player. So this is the deck that I have net decked from Magic Arena Zone. They post some top Mythic deck lists every month, so that is where I found this deck. And yeah, it just looks like a mono red beatdown deck, mono red aggro. Looks pretty simple. Again, no real experience with the deck, but looks like we're just going to be jamming out a bunch of haste creatures, removing anything our opponent plays to block with cards like Molten Impact and Mephit's Enthusiasm, and then closing out the game by removing their last blocker with like Traumatic Prank and hitting them with it, that kind of stuff. So yeah, just really aggressive mono red aggro. Again, absolutely zero experience in Alchemy, so can't give you any massively good commentary about why the deck is built the way it is, why the sideboard is built the way it is. It just is what it is, and I'm going to do my best with it. So without further ado, let's just fumble our way into round 1, shall we? Alright, well, one thing I'm pretty confident on is that the mono red deck wants to go first. Not super confident about keeping one landers. This is a 23 land deck. We know we get to play Outcasts turn 1 and turn 2 thanks to Double Team if our opponent doesn't have 1 mana removal. We also have a Play with Fire, and if I hit a single land I can cast everything in the hand. This may come back to bite me, but I think with Tiefling Outcasts in hand that means we have 3 plays even off of a single land, which lets us miss a land drop for a turn or two and still be doing something every turn. So I think I'm going to keep the 1 lander. Opponent is going to start with Forsaken Crossroads. I believe that can be untapped since they weren't the starting player, so if they have a 1 mana removal spell they probably will untap it to kill the Outcasts before it double teams, but instead they'll just scry here. We'll attack with Outcasts and make its double teamed friend, and then we will pass the turn as we just drew another 3-drop here. We're at about 43% of the deck being lands now, says untapped.gg. Alright, sick. We've got one of them. They have a blue and a black up. That could be like Jwari Disruption, definitely. Counter something unless you pay 1. However, my only really viable play here is just play a haste creature and get going. So just run right into the Jwari Disruption. I don't really have another line. I guess I could Play with Fire them in their end step, scry 1 and try to hit the 3rd land. That's an option to play around Disruption, but it could also just be cheap removal to blow up one of my cards anyway. Yeah, let's just try to haste out the adversary. Alright. Cheap removal here, maybe? Cheap removal it is. Infernal Grasp, at least that still damages them. They lose 2 life plus the 4 I just dealt by those 2 creatures. Or 3. Because they kill the Outcasts and the other one only does 1 damage afterwards. What is this thing? When it enters the battlefield, it connives. When you discard 1 or more cards, seek a card that shares a card type with one of the discarded cards. That seems very, very good. A little hard to cast, but very good. Definitely going to go for a Molten Impact here, just get that thing out of the way. Suppose I could Traumatic Prank it instead, but then it's still on the board, it just can't block anymore. Yeah, I think I'm saving Traumatic Prank for like very late game creatures. creatures that are too big to die to a single Molten Impact. Probably will. Well, I don't know if I play with Fire the Face. It puts them to 9 and lets us scry 1. They don't seem like a deck that's going to have a lot of 2 toughness creatures here. We see a 5/6 and a 2/3 is the smallest thing they've played. I feel like Play with Fire is probably going to go to their face at some point, so we might as well do it while we have the 1 mana up. Get our scry earlier in the game here. Okay, Forsaken Crossroads again. Get a Lysel. That's a very big issue, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Lysel, very good and constructed, not just in limited. I would snap concede if this were a draft. If I get 5 mana, I can Molten Impact Lysel to get the Flicker ability off of her, and then I can Traumatic Prank to steal her. I guess we, they're not going to Flicker if we play with Fire her, so I think we do scry 1 and we just try to hit... I guess we don't need to hit lands. We can impact 1 turn and prank the next turn either way. But yeah, I think I am just shooting faces scrying. Adversaries, actually not bad if we make it to 5 mana. It doesn't really affect our board at all right now. If I manage to Traumatic Prank a Lysel, I'll have 2/4 Double Strike, which is big. I think I actually get rid of that because it's not going to be immediately impactful. I'm just going to play Molten Impact this turn anyway. Kind of just trying to scry into like another Play with Fire or something. Okay, so we get Lysel's shield down, and then we pass turn because we can't attack into that thing. And then if they don't like specialize it into making a bunch of 2/2s, maybe we get to like steal it. I guess they make 1/1s with the red version. They don't look like they're a red deck, they're white, blue, black. They can get a non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less. They can conjure a duplicate of one of their creatures in our hand, or they can return creatures from their grave. Oh wow, they can bring back the Diviner of Fates. And it's only 1 mana to specialize Lysel? Whoa. Okay, yeah, so probably 1 mana, discard a black card here. Lysel becomes bigger, and then Diviner of Fates hits the board. They've got another blocker. It's probably what's going on. It's not looking super great for us here. Opponent has a ton of cards in hand, and this Lysel single-handedly is going to bring back another pretty full board state to block with. Okay, discard a Rave Enfeeblement. Well, could have killed the Tiefling Outcast, so that's not the worst for us. They had to discard a somewhat real card. Now they'll connive with the Diviner of Fates. Discard the big Wrath Angel. We'll destroy everything that we dealt damage to our opponent with. And Rafine. Yeah, looking pretty over. Send in Lysel. So they get to connive. Sure. Take 8 here. Everything's like 4 toughness in this deck. This is bonkers. Just a bunch of 3 mana 4 toughness cards. I feel like chumping is not a winning plan, but also it's only 1 more damage. If we do get a kill, it's going to be like a prank out of nowhere. 8 damage with a double striker. Rahilda. None of this stuff does anything here. We don't get through any of this. Can force a chump here with Traumatic Prank. I kill one of these, I guess. Nothing else is attacking or blocking well at all, so I might as well. kill one of their creatures here. Then Lysel starts damaging them once per turn. Seems like our best bet. Adversary is a chump attack, so no point sending that in. Even if the plan isn't to block with it. I'm not just going to sacrifice it into their 3-4. Okay, so we're going to kill Rafine. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know why this always happens. It feels like it plays 2 songs at once. It's definitely 2 songs. Alright, another Diviner Fates. It's 3 now. I guess they replayed the first one, so it's just 2 copies here. 11 damage? Sure. They don't have another blocker, and I top deck like a Traumatic Prank. It's a lot of damage. Even Molten Impact is somewhat big here, but then I don't survive their next attack. No, that's game. I shoot that, chump there. Still technically alive, unless my opponent gets massively bold. Probably have 1 removal for Adversary. Yeah, unless my opponent gets massively bold. This, game is not going to be a victory. Maybe I can see some more removal stuff from them. Okay, tap that down. Super dead. Okay. Alright, well, after 1 game of experience, I think I would not keep a 1-lander again. While the curve in this deck is really low, it is important to be able to double spell later. Like, a really impactful play later in the game would have been if we had 5 mana being able to Prank and Molten Impact in the same turn. So, I think my biggest mistake there is I probably should have mulliganed that game for sure. Sure, there was other stuff I could have done better. But, again, with just a distinct lack of experience in the format, the only thing that's obvious to me is we take that mulligan for sure in the future. Best bet would have been Prank plus Impact. I think I'm going to put in all the 4 damage removal, because just everything in their deck is like a 4 toughness creature for only 3 mana. Chandra Do. Add a red, deal 1 to player Planeswalker. This feels like your card against matchups that just have no creatures. Your opponent has some creatures, doesn't feel great. Rahilda also kind of feels like that. Like if your opponent doesn't have any creatures, then yeah, you get some cards out of it. So maybe we cut a Rahilda here. Or another Traumatic Prank to try to get those Lysel kills. Need to cut 2 more cards still. Braid is not going to kill anything in their deck. All 4 toughness. I guess Rolling Vortex is against like life gain decks, but they're not a life gain deck. Okay. 2 cuts. Raiju seems a bit expensive. Cut a couple Raiju and just roll with it. Well, the Raiju attacks is a 4/4, which is pretty important. Actually, the Play with Fires maybe aren't going to kill anything. They're just for shooting their face, so we'll cut 2 Play with Fire here. Call it a deck. Okay. Much better mana this time. Turn 1 Outcast still. Which does make Big Spender bigger. That's super spicy. Okay. Black Source turn 1. Probably sideboard in stuff like Disfigure or whatever is in standard that's 1 mana removal. I guess they have Rave Enfeeblement already. -4/-1 instant speed, get rid of the Outcast before it double teams. Yep. You got it. Here's Big Spender. Well, this game looks like it's going to be just keeping the board clear for Big Spender to keep going in. Ooh, if we hit that next mana for Raiju, that's going to be a really big play. Again, I think a 4/4 haste is really good. A really good size for this matchup. I did peruse a little bit on Twitch. Watched a tiny bit of people playing the Mythic Invitational Qualifier before I hopped on. Just like 20 minutes, maybe a half hour of it. I think I only saw one person out of like the 20 that I was scrolling through that were playing the event, playing mono red, so I'm assuming it's not actually that well positioned, but it is going to be the deck I have the highest chance of actually piloting somewhat okay, because it's definitely one of the more simple decks. Like, there's no way I could pilot what my opponent's doing with 0 experience. This game's starting to look pretty bad. Not playing anything for 2 turns is super rough, and now they're just going to counter the Raiju. I don't have anything to bait the counterspell, though, so we still go for it. Just in case they don't have it. Guess it's a removal spell then. 6 cards in hand, it can't be nothing. Okay. Destroy the Raiju. Get another 2 damage in. Maybe I went a little overboard on removal. Maybe we just saw a lot of creatures and they kind of just have like the 12, 4 Callum, 4 Diviner, 4 Lysel, that kind of thing. Again, if I knew Alchemy better, I would probably just know the deck list for this archetype. The average deck list for the archetype. They have Rafine as well. So that's like... They have a playset of each, that's 16 creatures. Still might be a bit much for against a 16 creature deck. Sunset Revelry is a really nice sideboard piece, as is Divine Purge. Yeah, Sunset Revelry is disgusting against us. Good lord. Game 4, make 2 1/1s. The 1/1s just kill our 2/1s all day long, like our Big Spender and our Outcasts. Feels like an unwinnable matchup. Even if I were moderately good at the game. Or good at the format. Which I am not. Still don't have Den of the Bugbear mana, still don't have anything to kill. And I could double Molten Impact the 1/1s. Or I could play with Fire 1 and Molten Impact another, if I really want to get in that badly. Kinda just think I'm supposed to try to draw into a bigger creature.
I need your name and birthday. Give it your best shot, adventurers.
We're gonna kill Tasha.
Buzz off, Natty. Cherish this rare moment.
Maybe that was the turn. If I Molten Impact one of the 1/1s, I actually hit both of them. Yeah. Yeah, I should have done it that turn. That was a punt. Cast your next what? Instant or sorcery. So now we Molten Impact both of them. This is what we should have done last turn. So we can actually start attacking again. Okay. Tap Big Spender, you got it. Is there second Callum? Yeah. Face Kakazan. Deal a damage. If I draw into a creature next turn, it'll come with a +1/+1 counter. And I'll get a 2/2 haste attacking as well. Molten Impact's actually pretty nice. The reason I didn't do that earlier and kill both of the 1/1s is because the way I was shortcutting it in my head was that it just deals extra damage to whatever you target with your next instant or sorcery, but that's not true. You can send the target elsewhere. So you could do 4 to 1 and then your excess damage to a different creature. So I could do 4 to 1 and 3 to another with this Molten Impact trigger. That is really nice. Okay, they did get Callum back now. Wait, how? They need 4? Exile 2 other cards named Callum from your graveyard. Jesus Christ. Alchemy cards are all so much more disgusting than I remembered. It's Ward 2, I can't kill that. Because if I target it with Molten Impact, I have to spend 2 additional for the Molten Impact and 2 additional for this ability that targets it. So I just cannot kill it. I can't even Traumatic Prank it because I only have 3 lands, not 5. Seems really bad. Still don't have Den of the Bugbear mana, stuck on 4 here. Cycler Fiend's Tower. Rave Enfeeblement. This only deals to creatures or planeswalkers, right? Yeah, excess damage only to a creature planeswalker. So whenever I play with fire, I'm dealing 3 damage. So if I play with fire their face here, I'm losing out on that extra 3. This won't be enough to kill anything, so I think I just draw. Now I can Traumatic Prank and pay 2. It's probably the best I've got here. It's harder than just activating the Den, plus if I activate the Den and it dies, I'm going to be pretty low on mana again. Again, I can Molten Impact, but I can only afford to pay the ward 1 time, which doesn't kill Callum. I could play with fire, and then I can pay the ward twice, so that play with fire and impact hits it, but that's 5 damage, not 6. So I guess it's pranking time. This is the Molten Impact, so that resolves. This will pay 4. Alright, well, we got them down to like 9 each time. I did something in these games, just not nearly enough. They have another Callum on top of their deck. Another Sunset Revelry, gain 4. Uncool. Uncool for sure. We still can't kill Callum, so we're just dead. 5 mana, 4 for impact and 3 for fire. That would be 7. That wouldn't even be... Yeah, that would be enough damage, but it'd be 7 mana. Any possible way to find lethal? We're dealing 2, putting them to 11. If we attack with Den, we're dealing another 4. Dealing 6 damage, putting them to 7. Play with fire for 2 to the face. Nope, no possible way. If we hit another land, that'd be the closest we could have gotten. We could have pranked Callum again, hit for 7, play with fire, that's 8, 9, plus the 10th damage from prank dealing 1 of them. But even that wouldn't find lethal. We got no flyers to block with. No, we're mega dead. This game. Oh, and 1. Heading into round 2. I think I've learned my lesson on 1-landers. I'm gonna mulligan this one. This hand actually looks worse to me than the 1-lander did even. So at least the 1-lander had multiple turn 1 plays and a turn 2 play. This we're not doing anything till turn 3. Still gotta be a keep here though, right? Most likely. think we get rid of Prank because that tends to be our kind of late game play. Ambergris is going to refuel our hand to dig for those kind of cards. Another blue-white deck. Hopefully not the same deck. That one was pretty good. Probably the same deck. More Esper. Play around Jwari Disruption here. Play Spender first. Only dealing one less damage by doing that. This also plays around other removal. Makes them kill our weaker creature instead of our bigger creature. Sure, puts a random creature. Oh. Well, that's nice. It's not bad at all. This is definitely a different deck. Same colors, though. We can Molten Impact the Skyclave and get a 1/1 token. If I play Ambergris, it's not getting in, so... I guess I do shoot that. Or I just play Ambergris and pass and let them play Sorcery Speed removal on it. That feels not great. Just shoot that and get my 1/1. Diviner of Fates. Okay, very similar deck. These cards are definitely new. There's a Tiefling Outcasts. Okay, so I can Molten Impact. I'm losing a little bit of value there, not getting the extra 2 damage out of it, but it gets things out of the way. Then I get to drop Ambergris here. Get that damage in. Oh, I guess I keep the value, yeah, because then the new Molten Impact dealt 2 excess damage because the Diviner was already dealt 2. That's so cool. That's really neat. I love like learning this new stuff as I just play. That's sick. I'm just gonna dump my hand here for Ambergris. All right, we drop Kumano Faces Kakazan. We drop Tiefling Outcasts. Huh. They have something at instant speed here, so if I discard Molten Impact to specialize Ambergris, I do get more damage out of her, but then if they have instant speed removal, I just lost my Molten Impact for no value. So I think I'd rather just attack here, because then if they have instant speed removal, okay, that's close enough. I'm glad I kept Molten Impact if that's what they had in hand. So I say, if they have instant speed removal and I discard this Molten Impact to specialize Ambergris, and then she just dies in response, that's going to be pretty bad. This way, even if they don't instant speed removal the Ambergris, I get to attack in, discard the impact, and draw the card still. Unfortunately, Meathook Massacre would not have killed Ambergris if I had cast Molten Impact, or discarded Molten Impact, so that's super rough. I really wanted to play against other mono red or like mono green decks. I hate playing against control. Sure. This is why I don't play constructed. Oh, good old Elixir now. Gain 2 life every turn and scry 1 every turn. That outpaces my 1/1 dramatically. I found the lands we wanted in match 1. There's the Rafine. Okay, it is the same deck. We're just seeing a different side of it. Unfortunate. We're not getting out of this one. We're not getting through a Elixir, a 5/6, and a 1/4 with a ward. And a Meathook Massacre, so they gain life every time they kill our cards. I guess this is Alchemy, so they don't actually gain the life anymore. Which is hilarious, but Well, I don't want to overload on traumatic pranks this time. I think I'm actually cutting one because they seem to be pretty low on creatures. But this one actually was running multiple Skyclave apparitions. I'll probably keep them in as well. So I actually am fine with our play with fires. I don't want to just cut some traumatic pranks. Just cut like one prank for an enthusiasm or something like that. Maybe up the creature count with some Storm Seekers or something. Some bigger creatures. Actually, no, I don't think we want to up the removal all that much. Not even lower it. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm just going to throw in 2 Storm Seekers over one of the pranks and a removal spell. See how that works for us? Maybe we play Chandras instead of those? Because maybe they focus really hard on creature removal and then a Chandra can just resolve until they drop one of their big flyers. Their flyers can just one-shot Chandra so easily, though. I don't know. I don't know the sideboard guides or matchup guides or anything. I'm just gonna fiddle around here. Don't feel like this is a massively winnable matchup either way. Okay, sure. No cheap removal. Let Rahilda do her things. One time. Let's get some Rahilda value. Oh. Alright. Let's get some haste damage. Unlicensed hearse. Sure. It's gonna be like a big blocker later. If I somehow survive this game, I could put some Abrades in, because they can kill both the apparitions and the hearse. So if I somehow win this one... then, it's Abrade time. Put those over the play with fires. Maybe 2 Abrade for 2 play with fire, something like that. They foretold a card. I don't remember what foretell cards there are. Maybe they put Doomscar in, but they wouldn't have just Vanishing Verse there if it was Doomscar. Probably just attack with Den of the Bugbear. I don't really want to commit a ton more to this board to get Meat Hooked or Doomscarred. And this does plenty damage. Puts them to 4 life. That's big. Wow. I mean, this is just what I was looking for the whole time. Just a hand like this. This is pretty sweet. I can kill the apparition. They can crew the hearse, though. But they have to tap it to exile stuff. Surprised they didn't exile their own verses earlier, because now they can't block with hearse this turn. Which means... they're not quite dead. I can put them to 1 here. I Enthusiasm the apparition, play a haster, and attack them to 1. Oh wait, no, I kill them because Enthusiasm gives extra power. I kill them. Yeah, I think they would have lived if they exiled something to the hearse. Would have survived 1 more turn, probably still lose the game. Unless they have 1 mana removal. We'll find out. They don't? Oh my god, nice. And the foretold card was Doomscar. Okay. Yeah, I think had they exiled their own cards to the hearse, they could have crewed hearse in response to us killing apparition, and they would have had a blocker. Even if it was just a 1/1 blocker, if they exiled their first Vanishing Verse earlier in the game. Yeah. But since there was nothing exiled to the hearse, if they crewed it, it was just a 0/0, it would just die. Okay, I'll definitely like the Abrades in. Still don't know how I feel about Traumatic Prank, even Chandra. Play with Fire, these seem like the loosest ones in the deck. Enthusiasm was actually super nice there, so I might spread the love around. 3 impact, 2 enthusiasm, something like that. Impact's better when they have a wide amount of creatures. Good against like Sunset Revelry if they splash that in. Just gonna really not streamline deck here and play a little bit of everything and hope it lines up mega well again. Yeah, I'm just gonna even go 1 Chandra, 1 Prank. Don't worry, they'll show up at the exact right time. It'll be perfect. It'll be perfect. Our opponent's on the play this time, so it's gonna be much harder to follow up the way we did game 2. But we'll see. Triple play with fire can really try to scry into lands. And we're on the draw. This has got to be a mulligan though, right? Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 damage. 13 if everything gets its haste damage in. Oh, I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, 2... We've got like no creatures. Just some rough ones. Just keep it and hope for the best here. Probably scry one. Another play with fire. Get a 2-drop creature. Come on, play with fire. You can do it. No. Ooh. Well, it kind of did it. Because it scryed the sorcery out of the way. They have nothing on the board for us to shoot, so I'm going to scry before we draw a card. That's interesting, but I think I have a better shot just hitting lands, getting to Raiju. Because this is just going to die. Just going to shoot it anyway. Because it dies to everything as a 1/1. Well, that's not good. Cool. Kill the 2/2. Elixir, that is really bad, but we've got a Braids now for the Elixir and the unlicensed Hearse. Oh, Lizel, I did not miss you. There's Rafine again. Connive with Lizel, so they have an even bigger double striker. Can't play a creature this turn. Ward 1, I can kill Rafine, I guess. Or I can flicker Lizel so that we can prank her later. I feel I just kill Rafine so that I can actually attack with outcasts, get the duplicate, and they can't connive with Lizel anymore. Now they can just discard a black card, get Rafine back. I feel like just Lizel on board is just immediate game every time. Just feels like they don't even need to play any other spells. Now they have a 4/5 lifelinker, so our 4/4 haste doesn't matter. Dramatic Prank on Lice is hilarious, because it does 1 damage to them, but they gain a life anyway. I can't attack him with Raiju, so I guess I might as well, but we can't win at this point. It's just funny. It's just funny. So they don't actually take the damage because they get dealt 1 and gain 1. And they take that Lysa damage. Which is super funny. Yep. Ooh, discard a white card to draw a card. And it's a Skyclave Apparition. Got Raiju. And then I just die on the crackback. I die on the crackback no matter what. Even if I hold Raiju up, chump there, take 6. So that is a game. So we did not manage to get any extra gems today, but at least I managed to get 1 victory here in the Alchemy event. I'll take it. I feel like that matchup did not feel very good to me. Lyzel is just slam dunk insta-win against my deck. And played against the same deck twice. Well, on the plus side, we get some free gems no matter what, and now I don't have to play Alchemy anymore. So there's a definite benefit to an 0-2 drop here. Because now I get to play less Alchemy. But still was fun to play around a little bit in a format that I'm unfamiliar with, just see what's going on in there. Would have been way more fun to see another matchup or two. Playing against a very, very similar deck at the very least twice in a row is always a little boring. Another reason I'm not a huge fan of Constructed and why I really like Limited, because even if you're playing against the same archetype multiple times, it's always different cards because the way that drafts go. There's always going to be a different makeup to the deck. Whereas, yeah, Constructed, it's like... They did have different cards. One was running Skyclave Apparition, one wasn't. But both of the decks was probably 3 or 4 Lyzel, 3 or 4 Rafine. All the same rare lands and all that stuff. Same efficient removal. But, yeah, not much else to say about that. Maybe if I were an experienced Alchemy player, I think the second matchup was definitely more winnable. Maybe I'm a little biased there because I drew a really good hand in game 2 and actually got a win in that round. But I think the first matchup, they had a really good sideboard. They were set up against mono red decks. They had Sunset Revelry. They had the Divine Purge as well that exiles all the cheap cards, makes them more mana to cast later. So I think that first matchup was almost definitely unwinnable. The second round, maybe if I played better, mulliganed better, stuff like that, sideboarded better for sure. I have no idea what I was doing when I was sideboarding, which should be pretty clear there. But yeah, the second round, maybe we could have pulled out a victory there if we were experienced in Alchemy. But some free gems for getting top Mythic in Limited. Not bad at all. But that is going to end today's video, and if you want to see some more Qualifier Weekend gameplay, especially actually competitive, somewhat skilled Qualifier Weekend gameplay, stick around because I am definitely going to make sure that I am qualified for next month's Qualifier Weekend event, because that will be Dominar United Sealed, which is right in my wheelhouse, being a limited event. So if I don't get top 250 Mythic and Limited, which I am currently, so if my rank decays below top 250, then I won't make it in. But then if that happens, I will make sure to play the qualifier play-in events until I win one of those so that I can play next month's Qualifier Weekend, which will be Dominar United Sealed. So again, if you're looking for more competitive events like Qualifier Weekend events, next month's going to be a huge one that I will actually try and hopefully get a solid run, maybe actually get a couple wins that time, because again, a format I'm much more adept at, much more prepared for. But yeah, that is going to end today's video. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send some more to you in your recommended feeds. And as always, Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.